Hey guys, Brandon Johnson here again. Thanks for joining me. Today we're looking at Shady Grove. This song goes all the way back to the Appalachian Mountains around the time of the Civil War. Before that, it goes back to England in the 17th century, in the 1600s. It goes all the way back. It's one of those songs that's really popular in bluegrass music. Just about every picker out there knows this one. And it's just a really fun tune to play. My favorite version of the song is the Jerry Garcia and David Grisman version off of the Pizza Tapes, which is one of the last albums that Jerry Garcia made. And it's just a really fun tune to pick. It's in the key of D minor, and you're not using a capo. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's check it out. All right, let's take a look at Shady Grove. It's in the key of D minor, and we're starting right off the bat with just an open D. And I've heard this song played a couple different ways. I've heard a couple different chord progressions for this song, a couple different lead parts for this song. But I'm just kind of trying to follow the standard way of playing this song, which is, Doc Watson / Jerry Garcia / Dave Grisman. And you're starting right off the bat. If you're playing the lead part, you're starting right off the bat with an open D on a downstroke, followed by a quarter note rest. So you're going rest, then you're landing on that C right there. When I play this song, I like to kind of ghost the chords as I'm playing the lead. So in other words, I like to kind of play the chords, not necessarily pick them. I mean, they're definitely available to you if you want to do a little cross picking in the middle of when you're playing the lead part. But, I start off with holding a D minor chord like this, even though I'm playing just the D note. Right, and it just gives me kind of a reference point in my mind for what chord we're playing over so that I can make a seamless transition into the rhythm part. Same thing right there, where I go to the C chord, the open C chord. Okay, looking at measure number 2, we're starting with a D again. And we're kind of rolling into that F chord that comes in measure number 3. So we're starting with that open D, another quarter note rest, and we're still in the key of D here, D minor, but we're approaching the F chord. So it's kind of like a approaching that chord shape. So I kind of like to think of, that walking into that chord shape. One, 2, 3, 4. Now let's play measures number 1 and 2 together, starting with the open D on the downstroke. And think about kind of ghosting the chords as you're playing the lead. So, you're kind of playing this lead part out of these chord shapes. So when you're playing that open D on that first measure there, that open D string, you're kind of playing it out of this D minor chord shape. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. learn these notes better, you can start to add in some cross-picking over the chords that you're playing, so you can kind of play it this way. You see what I did there? I kind of just, now I'm playing the notes, the individual notes, but I'm also kind of, adding in. You're adding in those cross-picking notes of the chord itself while you're playing the lead. And that becomes especially important if you're playing it alone. If you're playing it solo, for example, you really want to kind of accent those chords a little bit because there's nobody backing you up. So it just adds a little bit of depth to it. So going into measure number 3, we're diving straight into that F chord. And I'm playing it out of this F chord position as opposed to this, because you just don't really need those low notes. You can play it that way if that's more comfortable for you, but I think this is easier playing this 3-note chord here. So starting with measure number 3, we're starting with a downstroke, hammer-on. You can see how when I do that hammer on, I'm also playing the first note B string. And you don't have to do that. You could do it just note for note, like. But I kind of like to add I kind of like to do the hammer on and add that first fret B string in there. Again, that's kind of going back to how you're kind of playing the chords along with the melody on this one. Because of course that first fret B string is in the F chord. So either one works. So in measure number 3, you're playing the F and the C. So you're playing the F for 2 quarter notes, and then the C for 2 quarter notes. One, 2, 3, 4. And going into measure number 4, so you're starting out with an open D and an open G picked together, which is kind of weird, but if you think about it, the open D is in the, we're in the key of D, so the open D works. And then since we're playing over the C chord, the G works, because the G is in the C chord and the D is in the D chord. So those 2 notes together actually do work. Okay, so you're starting with an open D and an open G to a hammer on the D string 2nd fret. And again, you're playing this out of the open C chord position. So all you're really doing is you're holding that C chord and you're just taking your middle finger and you're just hammering it on. And then you're picking the open G. Hit that D, I like to go back to that D minor chord shape again. measure number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you also want to pay attention to, the syncopation that you're using when you're picking this, because it has a really specific type of syncopation to it that, kind of gives the song its own characteristic in a way. Practice, watch the Doc Watson version or the Jerry Garcia, David Grisman version, and just, try to copy their syncopation and where they're accenting their picking. Now let's play measures number 3 and 4 together. So we're starting with this F chord. So we're playing it out of this F chord position. But really, I just like to anchor my index finger on that B string first fret, because you can keep that there for the F chord and the C chord. You don't have to move your index finger at all off of that B string first fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Shady Grove kind of has an AA form. There's really no B part to this. The A part just repeats as the B part. So what you can do once you get the melody down is you can kind of add your own little accents to it. And what I like to do is, try to play, since you're playing the same part twice, essentially, you're playing the A part as the B part, kind of make it sound different. So maybe, pick it a little differently the second time, or add an extra note here and there. And one thing I like to do on the first measure is, you see that D note. Okay, so you play that open D once the first time you play it. So you go. And the second time for the B part, you might play it twice. So you go. And that's just a simple way to kind of differentiate the two parts and make the B part sound fresh. So let's play all of part A together. Let's play measures 1 through 4. So you can hear the entire song. I'll play it nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4.